Okay, it's your boy Kamal Hart on the chart, and we're going bar by bar. Today there is a lot of price action, so I'm going to try to move through it quickly. I myself had I had an okay day, a little bit of over trading, not what I want out of myself. Um, so we'll go over those trades when they come up. But to start off the day, I'm kind of seeing this. You can see we're definitely going sideways here. We're going sideways up here, so I'm just seeing maybe like a two-tier range at this point, um, which is a little different than the way I charted it this morning. So we'll see how much that affects the trades. That's kind of what I see at the moment right now. Um, got this little higher low. Well, really, we need to get a lot of these lines on here. Um, Possibly there's a micro trend there. And so we're getting a break to a new low, and then it's maybe reversing here. So it pushes down to that low, but we're still kind of just sideways in it. So we just got to wait to see what will happen. And we do end up getting a move all the way to these lows. And then right there, you got that lower high entry. It's not a great signal bar though. But given the context, if we are indeed in a range, you might risk that. I just don't think that signal bar is super strong, but it never breaks above, so you'd have been fine. I don't want to enter on these bars. These aren't strong enough to me. And it keeps going lower. So um, not really a breakout pullback. Maybe there's a small breakout pullback right there. Broke out, pulled back, continued. So you might see that as a breakout pullback. I don't know if that's what I see yet. So maybe there's a trend line there and a channel line here. That's possible. So we'll be on the lookout for shorts for now. See if we get anything that sets up. This is going sideways, nothing there. This is it's just a first entry to this low, even though it's a really strong signal bar. It's not really a trade off the highs. It's the first breakout though, but I'm gonna try to wait, see if we get a lower high or second entry type thing. And you see it ticks one below and fails. So um, let's see if we get a swing high, which technically there's a swing high right there. Let's see if we break above these swings and we'll give it a trend. Yeah, like there, where it broke above there. Just give it a trend. Maybe something is there. Not quite enough data yet to really tell where that line should be. Just working up on that high side of our channel. I like how it's holding it though. That's a good sign. We're getting an overshoot. So let's see what it does. That's not a convincing overshoot, so I'm not too worried about that. But now, given the context, we're going to be looking for longs. We're above the EMA. In fact, the next time we break above is going to be a reversal pattern. So let's see what type of setup we get off that. So right there, that's going to be our reversal pattern. And that's also where I took my first trade, but I took the wrong trade. I took a way too aggressive trade. The thing about this morning for me is that I was a little bit distracted with the news of Kobe passing. Rest in peace to a true icon. I was a little bit engaged just listening to the different reports on the helicopter and things like that, which is a terrible habit. I really should have just been dialed into my chart, but I wasn't. So essentially, what I did is I took the short here off of this red bar. I was really wanted to get in there, but I missed it and it went without me. And like I said, I just wasn't really giving it much attention. So when I let it pull back, it entered me on the trade. And at the time, I didn't have this micro trend on my chart, so I wasn't really seeing how this is definitely an uptrend. And then to make matters worse, I didn't even tighten my my stop. I left my stop at the full 2 points. So that was just really bad management. You know, my best case scenario, even if I would have entered here, my best case scenario was exiting one tick above my signal bar, which would have been 2 ticks above my entry bar. So just really poor trade management. In fact, I should have been going the exact opposite direction with that trade. At the time, I just didn't quite see it like that. So we get the pullback here. It doesn't really go far. Um, Tough to say if that's going to be a convincing breakout side. It's interesting how this broke out just about the same amount as the breakout on the high side. But this is definitely a breakout right there. So I want to see maybe a retest. I want to see maybe another leg up. So this could be leg one. And if this is where we end up bouncing, this could be leg two. We'll have to wait and see. So you get that little bounce. That was just the first entry to the high, so we can't buy that. Get the pullback. Here's the higher low right there. But that signal bar is not that great, and that trigger bar is really big. So that's another trade maybe we can't take. But it's looking like it might do like a two-legged move. So maybe we'll get a second entry long setup. And see how that makes like a double top right there? Really, we just got to wait and see what's going on. Here's actually where I made my second trade. I don't know what I was doing this morning. I think I was just, like I said, I mean, and that's the problem is that you really, when you're distracted, you're liable to make just atrocious trades. So at this point, for sure, there's really no reason to be going short. The only thing I can say in my defense is that it is a second entry short to this low, first entry, second entry, but it's clear that we're going higher. So this is a counter trend short. It's a bad trade. I think what I had seen earlier was more so the range being up here, but it's not that clear. I really like the way I have it now much better with the two-tiered range. So yeah, that was just a trading mistake. Two bad trades back to back to start off the week. And then it gets a little messy in here, so y'all are gonna have to bear with me. But I'll do my best to explain what was going on. So I took this short, and then I saw this bar close like a reversal pattern. So I knew this was going to be a bad trade because off this low, that's the first entry it fails, and now that's the second entry it's going to fail. So once it breaks above, I'm expecting prices to go higher. Um, so I just exited real quick right there. It broke above, and then I just exited on the limit a little bit back. And then I went long on a limit order back inside this area because we do have this signal bar set up. Now I went long before I saw this bar close. Had I seen the close, I would have been trying, well, not that I would have been trying. I think I would have had to just scratch this trade because this closed inside of the reversal pattern, which means it doesn't have the same, it didn't trap as many traders as we might have hoped it might. So that's why you see that after this blue bar, there's an exit right there in the middle of this green bar. That was that one tick scratch. But what I did that wasn't really smart is when I saw this green bar close, I was like, okay, that might be the bullish strength that I'm looking for, and this could probably keep going higher from here. So I re-entered right there, and I still had the runner contracts open, so I re-entered there. Of course, it's obvious at this point that um, there's some congestion and prices are going sideways, so that's not really a good place to go long. At the time, I just I kind of ignored it. So I have partial contract open, and then I added on right there. So not really a good place to be. And I got some hope too, because when this bar hit, it looked like it was going to break out, but then it came back and closed back inside the congestion. So right here, I kind of already know, like, okay, I don't think I'm going to be a winner on this trade. And when it pulls back, really what I should have done is that I should have exited 2 ticks below either one of these 2 bars. So that would have been 32.44.75 right in here. I should have been out. But I left my stop loss below this big signal bar. I think I just wanted to give it some room. I was expecting maybe a bounce, but the management could have been a lot better on this. And I mean, it's really obvious that this is not where I want to be long. So that's just a result of I was distracted and just being too aggressive in a congestion zone. So it gets a bounce. So I'm hoping maybe this is going to be the bounce, but then it sets back up lower. Then I get another, like, this really looked like a good signal. Like, if I wasn't in on an add-on, I probably would have added on here because, well, actually, no, I would not have. But it's a second entry long, good signal bar. But once again, we're still in this congestion. So you don't want to be adding on or taking trades. What you want to do is let it break out, pull back, buy, or you want it break down and then fade it back up. But you don't want to be buying anywhere in there. So my only hope was that after it breaks above this bar, we'd maybe get a run up. I get my scalp and stuff like that. But on this next bar, it never breaks above. It only breaks lower, just enough to stop me out, and then goes back into this congestion zone. So, three trades out the gate, all of them avoidable, all of them just a consequence of not really paying attention. So it was a little frustrating. Um, but there's still plenty day left to take trades. And I wasted no time because once it did break above, I actually went long right there. This is going to be super aggressive. The main reason I went long is because when this bar stopped me out and then closed back up inside, I just had a feeling that it was going to go up. That's not necessarily a good setup. I don't think this is a necessarily good trade. Technically, it's a second entry long, but the context is pretty bad. Um, so all of these trades, all 4 of these trades are not good trades. Not good trades. Um, but this one actually gives me a little bit of a runner. I made a mistake here because when it broke below, I didn't want to maybe risk it pulling back. So I just exited some of my position on that break below. So basically it ends up being like my scalp portion right there, which if I was going to scalp, I should have been scalped out by this bar. So really I was going for a much bigger move on all of my contracts. I kind of got scared into taking the scalp. But then when this closed back above, I felt good about that. And then I only had my target just above these highs. So I was able to exit with the runner. And really on the scalp, I exited only 1 contract and I had 3 contracts here. So I made a big chunk of money back off this move right there, which all of this is wrong. It's bad risk management because I should have been sizing down. It's bad trade selection because that's not where I want to. If I was going to buy, right? If you were going to buy this, I should have bought it here. This is a failed second entry short. See how this low goes lower once, fails, goes lower twice. That's where I should have bought. And that's not aggressive at all. That's, I think, a pretty good textbook trade, in my opinion. And then maybe what is an aggressive trade is the breakout pullback right there. That's probably a little bit aggressive. But either one of these 2 entries would have been my real entry. This was a bad entry. So I did bad on the selection. I did bad on the risk management by not sizing down. I did bad on trade management because I didn't take my correct exits and stuff. Just really bad trading. But I did make some money on that, so I'm kind of half of my losses, I kind of made them back off that trade alone. And then I overtraded at this point because I have 4 trades in. I'm down on the day. I need to be done for the day. But I just knew that I took these trades with maximum distraction. I was not really paying attention on these trades. So I had this sense that it's like, okay, let me turn off the Kobe videos for a little bit, just focus in and see what else I can get off a day like this. Because I mean, there's a high amount of volume today. Look at all these bars. This is a 2,000 tick chart, and there's already this many bars. So I'm expecting some big moves. So I just tried to focus, dial in a little bit, see what else I can get. And we get a push up. We can't buy that because it's too sideways, too many dojis. But we got a little push up, and we actually end up making that measured move, the one from down here. So really, if I was being more strategic, I would have been holding it up to here, just about. It never really makes a new low on the way up, or a swing low. Maybe there's a swing low right there, but I should have been waiting for 2 exit signals, so I wouldn't have been out. Oh well. So you can see we're just kind of trending higher. It's a little late now, but it's almost as though this is like a spiking channel, possibly. Like I said, I do think it's a little late. Um, Possibly this is like the channel, just kind of going through there. And then I took a trade here. This trade was basically like a higher low trade because there was a double bottom off these 2 lows. See that double bottom? So then when we bounced off the trend line, I thought we might make a run to the highs. It didn't go far. I just basically got the scalp. And then when it pulled back, I had my stop loss 2 ticks underneath my entry bar, or 1 tick. So I made some money on the swing, on the scalp, and then lost a little bit on the runner. Nothing too significant. Um, and then now we start to break lower, like break previous swings. We're below the EMA. I want to respect that. And so I'll probably give that a line just there. Not that I want to take a short, because really, if we're looking at the big picture, we're on the lower side of the range. I want to be getting long, but we haven't been up to this high side since early morning. So this might be our highs for the day. So we got to see, maybe prices are just going to trend in between these 2 levels for the day. So we got to wait and just see what happens. Good little push. Here's like a failed, this is a reversal pattern off this high, a failed second entry long. It's a really big signal bar though. It's the only thing I'm a little nervous of. Um, the other thing I don't like is back to this idea of us being on this lower side. But so far, the upper side has not been proven. We have 2 bounces off these highs. Not sure how this trade does, but let's see. We'll manage it correctly. So right there, once it breaks below, then closes back inside, I don't really like that. I'm probably going to set up to scratch at 1 tick or break even +1 if it gives it to me. And I probably am tightening my stop loss to 2 ticks above this bar. And you can see that it does tick. So, that's just kind of sucks, but it ticks 2 ticks above. So I don't know what happened first, but I might have got stopped out right there, and then it goes to the lows. So if it, this was definitely last. So you probably got stopped out if you managed it like that. I don't know. That's just one of those trades that it's kind of in a weird spot, um, but it's there. And it takes off. So depending on how you manage this trade, it might have been worth it. It might not have been worth it. It just depends on how you managed it. Um, you can see that we're going sideways right there, so we just need to wait. Right, and we're just trending down. Pretty obvious trend. Now what we're looking for, we got this a swing higher. move across the EMA. I'm gonna go ahead and put a micro on that. I like that bounce. That's the higher low bounce. It's not a great setup. Maybe a B minus or a C plus setup. So I'm gonna skip it, but there's your higher low. Doesn't go anywhere. You would have got stopped out. Here's a second entry long, two-legged pullback to these highs. I don't like how it's underneath the EMA though, but we had some congestion here, so possibly we're gonna test these high sides. I think it's aggressive, but it's there. First break of this micro trend. Let's see how it does. Damn, it doesn't go far. In fact, this is a reversal pattern right here, so you know, truly, let's see something. Probably the midline is somewhere in here. Make sure. Okay, midline is a little bit lower. More in here. Okay, maybe one too higher. So something like there. So that is an interesting thing. If we are going to run off the idea that we're only trending in this lower side for now, you see where this long sets up. This long sets up on the higher side of that range, which makes it more likely to fail. It's one of those things, if you would have seen it in time, that would have helped keep you out of that trade. And once again, it going into that EMA feels sketchy. So we're going to take that off. So, but here is a reversal pattern, right? Off this high, went higher once, fails, went higher twice, it's about to fail. But it's setting up on this lower side. So it's kind of the same reason you don't want to take this long, same reason you don't really want to take this short. So I'm skipping both of them. And luckily, so here's the real irony. Okay. It's still too aggressive, but I will say if you entered this trade, I thought it was definitely you were going to lose, but it never ticks below. So you never get stopped out, and you would have actually won that trade, but it's a little aggressive to buy there. And then on this short, it never triggered below, so it never triggered, so you wouldn't have been short. Only when that trigger was this long and you actually don't get stopped out. But had I have had my line there, I probably would have skipped it. If you didn't have your line there and you entered, you kind of got lucky. Just depends. And so then here is when I saw a trade that I actually liked, because basically we were waiting for this failed second entry to trigger and it never does, and then it pulls back. It makes kind of a double top with that high, and that's a really strong, really strong bear bar. So I wanted to go short, and I did go short. Oh man. Sorry. I wanted to go short right below this bar right there. That's a good place. And we're on the high side of the range, so we're expecting it to cross over. That's a good context trade. And we even had a break and a move at the new high, made a double top and fails. That's a good sign. Now, I messed that up because at this point, I had made back most of my losses. I took a trade on gold and made back some money. So then this is my last trade of the day. And I was just looking at it like, okay, I'm only down like maybe $8. If I just enter real quick and exit real quick, I should be able to, get some profit and have a green day. Now, that's a terrible mentality. I don't feel like going into too much depth right now, but it's the same thing that we've been talking about actually the past couple weeks is like, when you take a trade, follow the trade management. Don't let your psychology ruin a good thing. And here's what I mean by that, because when I entered this trade, I exited 3 ticks down and it would have gave me a full scalp. And then when you really look at this trade or when you see it develop, it even goes and tests these lows. So I could have, easily made a nice profit. None of this stuff breaks above. Nice profit there. Had I have actually followed the trade management and not just kind of took an emotional exit because I saw some green in my P&L. So just a really bad psychology for this trade. Really good setup, great setup, but just poor trade management. Poor trade management. So you kind of get some sideways. See, you get that stack up. So that could have been one of your exit signals. And then when you move past that EMA, that would have been your other exit signal. So you probably got 2 scalps unless you exited in the congestion. But that's way better than what I got by being emotional. So right now you can see we didn't make it to the low side. We're just kind of hanging out in the middle of the range. So we got to be kind of careful. And then like here, this is a second entry short, but look how all these bars are sideways. I'm not into that. I'm not going to take that short. It never triggers, so there's nothing to worry about. And what I'll do for visualization is let's get that line on there, and then we'll get the other line on there as well. So now you can see we're kind of getting a breakout of this congestion zone. I'm going to wait for that breakout pullback. Maybe we'll get a trade. It doesn't pull back. So really it's kind of like a breakout trend right now. It looks like it's about to pull back, so it pulls back there. Now, given the context we have for the day, right? Like this is the middle of our range, of our bigger range. But so far this midline has been acting as resistance. So I don't want to go long right into that midline. I don't want to go long right into this line. And look, this bar inside of that bar, inside of that bar. So we already have a congestion zone as well. So you'll be buying that breakout. That's not going to be your best trade. And then look how far we are from the EMA. We're not that close to the EMA. So for all those reasons, I see this setup and I skip it. I don't like that setup. And it would have failed. So we're getting that pullback. This is a really deep pullback. We haven't made a new swing low though, but looks like we're about to. But it actually doesn't. It doesn't swing lower. So let's just wait and see what it does from here. There's my swing low, closing up below the EMA. I could give this another trend line, but really I'm just gonna wait for it to break out because now we're just kind of noise. It's just going back and forth between this upper section. So it's not much I can do with this. Here is the failed second entry long off this high. Tried to go higher once, fails, goes higher twice, fails. So that's a setup. There's obviously a downtrend going on. We're on the top side of the range, so we're expecting it to probably cross over. Maybe it'll test these lows. Maybe it'll actually come down to these the range lows. That's an okay setup. It takes a little while, but you get the scalp. And you get a little bit more. None of those bars break above, so as awkward as it was to watch that tick down, nothing breaks above. So you would have definitely you would have held that trade unless you got spooked out here. It's very possible. But yeah, see how nothing breaks below? That's such a great sign. But I'm also thinking that when you have these breakout trades, they tend to pull back to the EMA. So it might be a good idea that to exit. Once this breaks above, it might be a good idea to exit. Even though I like to wait for 2 signals, whenever I get those breakout trades where nothing breaks above, they can sometimes snap back. See, like right there, nothing broke below either. It just went right back to that EMA. So, your worst case scenarios, you probably want to just exit there. even though it's most likely to hit this EMA and then turn from there. I just wanted to expose myself in case it doesn't turn back. Like there, it kind of faked the turn back. But we're below, now we're above, and we had a swing. So let's put a micro on that. But the problem is we're already back in this upper side, so even these longs, I'm not too hot about any of these longs that might come up. Like here is the failed second entry short, but it's not, it's on the wrong side of the range. I mean, there's a lot of room to those highs though, but I'm just gonna stick with not buying on this side. It fails, you know. And then here's kind of that re-entry pattern, but it's the same thing. It's like we're on the high side of the range. You know, if you're being really aggressive, you might buy that, but um, typically I think I'm not gonna buy on this side of the range. And look, it fails. Like it immediately fails. So it's not even a good buy, or it's an okay buy. It just doesn't work, and that's just back to this idea of buying on this high side is always risky. See how all my trades on this side are short, except this one, and then see how down here these trades are longs. It's just how it works. You get a failed second entry. You get a reversal pattern on this bar, really strong, but I don't want to sell on this side. And really, what could be happening, a better concept for a trade idea could be that we had a leg like this leg, and then it pulled back, and then now we're making a leg 2. So there possibly could be a leg 1, maybe a leg 2. So we'll see where that takes us. So yeah, this is a reversal pattern, but we're on the wrong side of the range, so I'm skipping that. Does okay. Once again, all these are kind of like short setups, so we're just waiting to see if we're gonna get a. I didn't mention it, but look at that double bottom. That's a big sign. That's telling us something. Then it's just bounced from there. There's our higher low. It's an okay setup, but that's a little bit big. This trigger bar is pretty big, and because it broke above, this red bar is our signal bar, so it's not a great setup. But there's the higher low. Whenever it does this, I just consider this the higher low because there's no differentiation. Like it's hard to tell. Okay, this is the higher low, then it went lower again, so this is the failed second entry. Nah, I just consider this all the higher low until we have something more clear. And so then right here we get that reversal pattern. It's only a few ticks past the midline, but it is on the wrong side, so I myself will skip. But you might be aggressive there. I mean, you tried to be aggressive here and you got burnt, so we're kind of sideways. I don't know. I just probably leave it alone. Yep, leave it alone. Here's kind of a re-entry pattern. I don't think it's super clean, but you might see this as a re-entry pattern because now we have the congestion down here and we bounced off those lows, and then we probably have some highs up here. So when that failed second entry failed and gives you this nice green bar, you might consider buying that. I don't like it actually because if we take this on a smaller level, that probably ends up being right on the midline or near the midline. Our midline's probably there. So it's just below the midline. Let's call it aggressive. Just kind of, it's like a double bottom off these bounces. We're hoping at least we're going to come test this high side. Never triggers, and then it triggers there, and then yeah, you get the scalp and a runner on that. Okay. Off this double bottom, here's a breakout pullback. We're kind of on the wrong side of the range, so I'm gonna avoid buying that. But there's a breakout pullback right there. That one shoots off, but it's not worth it. And then all these trades, all these longs, you know, none of these are even good setups, but we're just gonna skip all of them. None of them are what we're looking for. I'll put a trend line on there. We got the breakout pullback, and I'll probably get the other channel line up there. So that's what we're using to work. Let's see what happens when we get to this to the highs here. If we, get resistance or not. This looks like a really nice setup. Just a first entry to the high. Off the lows, it's like a double bottom there. It's really just kind of going sideways. Would have stopped you out. But here's the second entry long on this bar right here. It's still going sideways though, but there's the second entry long. And see how sideways that is? You would have to wait that out, but you would have gotten it. I'm not interested in trading stuff like that. It doesn't even go far. So yeah, it's really obvious how congested. This is literally barbed wire. It's just there's really nothing to trade in there. So I just probably walk away for 15 minutes or so, see what happens when we get a breakout. So we get that breakout. There's a breakout pullback right there. It doesn't close back inside, but it's kind of close enough. What I want to do though is actually just use this channel. Say this is leg 1. Maybe we're going to get a leg 2, but we're going to have to break through this resistance. And we break through it, but now we're going to see if this is a failed break. So that's the breakout pullback on this larger range we have. We still have the highs up here, but we've been trading in this lower half all day. So now we have the breakout of this lower half, and we might start trending to this higher half. And basically, I'm just going to switch up my rules, and I'm just going to follow the trend. And I don't want to buy on this side, so I definitely don't want to buy on this side. I will consider buying on this side if I'm looking at the big picture. So we just have to see. I'm going to use my short-term channels for now to keep me on the right side of trades. So a little channel there, got a strong move. See that? That's just a first entry. It reverses pretty strongly. Then you get this is a second entry long. It's a little sideways down here. It's not a great signal bar, matching tops and stuff. We're back to that issue of buying on the high side of the range. So that's just a trade I skip. A lot of these trades, as it trends higher, all these buys, they'll be aggressive, but I'll probably end up skipping a lot of them. Like there's your lower high. That's kind of a good setup. This is a second, no, it's not a second entry. That was a second entry. Just a lower high. It's an okay setup, but I don't want to buy on this side like I keep saying. And they work, but I'm not interested. It's like now I'm possibly interested in buying, but we got to see. Like this ends up being channel we broke out, made a new, 2 legs to a new high, and we're getting a reversal. So let's see how this plays out. If it breaks below, there's a reversal pattern right there. I don't know if you should trade that. I think almost you should just trade your short-term lines because there's absolutely no proof of prices trading this level. So I'm more inclined to keep playing it the way we've been playing it than to switch up and include this higher range until we really get up there. So you might take this trade. It's there. How about I say this? It's there. Let's see if it works or not. It never triggers, so you're not in yet. You might get in here if it breaks below. It's okay. Doesn't break below though. Breaks below there. It's it's one of those trades where when it broke below, then closed back up inside, I'm probably setting up for a scratch. Um, Stop is going to be up here, so I'll probably set up and scratch this trade, and you get a nice move. So that would have sucked scratching that, but I don't know. Oftentimes when it closes back inside, it reverses. That means no one's really trapped. But this time it kept going. You know, the irony, I just noticed it. Um, you know, even if we consider this higher range section, notice how when I went short on this higher section, that trade worked. And that trade also is like a failed breakout of the lower channel. So that's just back to that idea of the fractal nature that like the best trades will fit the context on the big picture and the smaller picture. You can see how like I'm going short on the high side of the overall range. I'm going short high side of this smaller range. It's kind of like a failed breakout, reversal pattern. Something to note. I think that's interesting. Doesn't go far. You can see you kind of get a leg down, breakout, two legs to a new low. So it's kind of like a reversal trend right here. Mark that up. Now, once again, I'm back nervous to buying, so I don't know if I'm going to be buying any of these. That's just the higher low, first entry to the high. Here's a second entry long. I'm going to say it's really aggressive for everything that we know about ranges, but given the context, we're going to expect a test of these highs. That should be enough to scalp. And yeah, you get that test, but you don't get higher than them. Okay, you get a breakup right there. So you don't get much on that, but you get a little bit. It's really just going sideways. It's like it broke out and now it's just kind of consolidating at the highs. That's really what it's doing. Possibly there. So you can see we just kind of see how we're on both sides of the EMA. So we want to sell up here, buy it up here. We preferably want to sell up here. The buying down here can get a little sketchy. That's a first entry to the high. We'll cool off that. It's kind of a, not quite a breakout pullback. It's almost a breakout pullback though. So now it's definitely breaking out. Back to what I was saying about its sketchy buying right there. That's the breakout pullback, but it doesn't close below, so we can't take that yet. And let's see what we get. That's a second entry short. But we're back in this range. It's also a reversal pattern off this high. But we're back. I don't like that. It's hard to say why. This setup isn't clean because if this is the breakout pullback, that's the first break. We're expecting it to test these lows. I mean, if you're being aggressive, it's there. I don't think this trade works. Yeah, you see how. So just back to just focus on managing the trade, not if they win or lose. So if you would take this trade, you entered. It's obviously closed back inside, and you can see that the way that closed, it kind of makes another little congestion zone. It's like another little zone right there. And you're pretty much in the middle of it. So I have my stop 2 ticks above this bar, and I have a scratch 1 tick below. And we'll just see which one gets hit. And it, you get stopped out. But here's the thing, this is a reversal pattern. That's a reversal pattern. I'm not going to go long there. But when you saw that it was a reversal pattern, that should have helped you exit faster. Once you see that reversal pattern, it just might. See how it shut like this big green bar? All these people who went short got trapped. That's the perfect sign of a trap. That's how, if this red bar was a trap, that's how this green bar should have been a big red bar. So everyone got trapped short, shot up. Let's see. And then it's just, it's a little tough to tell what's going on. I mean, it's like a breakout, pulled back in. And that was my issue with this trade. We'll take it off the thing, is that it really is just a breakout. Like it's a fake breakout, right? It broke out and then pulled all the way back. It's a little weird going short there. But anyway, we have this little uptrend. There's a breakout, then another big green bar. That makes a new high. A little turn down. It's only like 30 minutes left in the day. You can see there's some congestion zone right there. You don't want to sell the breakout. So even though it's a second entry short to this low, it's a little aggressive on that breakout. We're going to wait. You probably get the scalp, but not much more. And then here you get a second entry long to the high. To me, all of this is just too confusing. I probably should just move some of my lines around, but once it gets too confusing, I'm not interested in it. But here's a second entry long right there. Doesn't go far. In fact, it fails. Worse than not going far. But here I like this trade. I really like these two red bars, because if you look like this one, off this high, when higher once it fails, when higher twice it fails. That's going to be a good place to go short. Back to the range context, we're looking at this range, like we might go test the lows. Reversal pattern. Really, you would have entered on a stop or a limit. Once it broke below this green bar, you would have been in right there, maybe right there. I wouldn't wait for this. And then you have to wait it out a little bit, but then that ends up going off for you. It's a nice trade. 10 minutes left in the day. I'm probably done for the day. Nothing more to force. Yeah, a minute. Yeah, I'm done. I'm not going to take any more trades. But that's what I saw. So pretty much, this upper range never really came to play, but it did help us get this midline, and it definitely held a couple times, 3 times, and then it kind of just tried to get above, but then fell back inside. That's pretty much all I see today, though. Pretty good trading day. I self-sabotaged in here, just not being very focused. But there were some good trades. If you would have caught them, could have definitely given you a pretty nice win. So that's what I saw today. Pretty much just a trading range day. It's a down day because we were up here, gap down, so it's kind of a down day. But overall, it's just kind of like a trading range. So that's what I saw today. I'm gonna be back tomorrow. Hopefully, there's a little less price action, because I'm not gonna lie, this is a lot to describe and talk about. But yeah, I'll be working on my trade management this week and working on making sure I'm staying disciplined. So yeah, cool. I'll be back tomorrow. Kamal Hart out.